Dion, all it took was two overtimes for Texas to get the win over Texas A&M, a win that may put the Longhorns in the NCAA tournament. We will talk about that in a little bit. But we had talked in the preview about how the first two games were marked by huge runs by both teams during the regular season. This game didn't necessarily have those huge runs, but had a lot of, let's just say, like timely basketball. Let's just say good basketball. There was some sloppy play in overtime. So it was an entertaining game, ultimately led to a Texas victory. How are the Longhorns able to get it done?
Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson. I mean, I think it's one of those situations where, like, when you go into it, yeah, you're a little outmatched for sure. I don't think anyone would deny that if you're Texas against A&M. Like, everyone's very high on A&M, but you got the best player on the court.
Yeah.
And I think they lend it to that. I said it in the preview. I want to watch as much Trey Johnson and Jeremiah Fears as possible. And shout out to Trey because we get another day of Trey Johnson. I'm
Yep.
hoping Jeremiah does the same this evening. With all due respect, Kentucky fans, I'm a Kentucky guy, but you guys are locked in. Let's get Jeremiah in too. That way we can get as much basketball from both those teams as possible. But yeah, I mean it was a great Trey Johnson game. Wade Taylor was pretty good too, 29 points on 18 shots. He only made five of them, but he did.
17 to 18 from the foul line is the most Wade Taylor thing.
But like that's an efficient Wade Taylor game, nonetheless. Like if you told me he had 29 points, I'm thinking a lot more shots than 18. I'll just
That's
be
fair.
honest.
That
So
is
I
fair.
feel like you got a good Wade Taylor performance, but Texas didn't let them muck the game up. They played
Yeah.
free, and I think that matters against A&M. And that free flowing style of offense really got to A&M, and Texas was able to took two overtimes, but eventually they were able to pull away a little bit.
Well, you also had six guys in double figures for Texas, right? Like Trey Johnson was Trey Johnson, but Shamon Mark played well. Caden Shedrick played well. He had the the wide open lip. I don't know how you're up two at the end of overtime and leave the other team's big man wide open in the lane. There was nobody else in the paint. Just total lapse there. Uh, Kendall Weaver came off the bench, produced. Kaluma produced. Like this is, I think, as well-rounded a performance as Texas has had, at least, or I should say, as balanced of an offensive performance as Texas has had. We'll see if that keeps up. But Rodney Terry's got a little magic. They've got two SEC tournament wins now.
I mean, they're in the tournament now, right? They got to be.
They're maybe right on the cut line because they're barring an auto bid. So just talking at large,
Yeah.
they're going to have 15 losses, which is a lot. But they have seven quad one wins now, I think it is, after this, which is hard to ignore, particularly with the bubble as wide as it is this year. Typically, we see some bid stealers, but like today, Thursday, most of the other bubble teams lost and did not pick up the wins they needed to. Like Texas and maybe UNC, you could argue, were the ones that accomplished what they needed to. And so I think that does propel Texas. I think they're in, but you need probably one more to feel super safe.
Yeah. I mean, we're about to do the preview for that, so I'll save my thoughts on that. But Texas fans, I think you're in.
I think so. Last thing we'll say here. Any concern from an A&M perspective, given the fact that they've now lost five of the last seven games. They did have the Auburn win
Yeah.
in there, but like overall, there's about a month now of them not playing their best. Any concern there?
Um, there's not no concern. But I do think there's a starch element of A&M is who A&M is.
Yeah.
And if you're an A&M fan, you can't really fight back against that. If you don't win the national title, the way you lose is going to be frustrating. I don't think A&M is going to lose a game where A&M feels fans feel good about it. I think A&M does a job of beating themselves in most games. This game at that. And I just think it's going to be one of those games where if they were to lose in the tournament, I do think it'll be frustrating for A&M fans. Not necessarily any more concerned than before. I think if I was an A&M fan, it's more so just acceptance.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I still think this is a team that can make the second weekend, but
Absolutely.
has to break right with the bracket. And you need Wade Taylor to be more efficient from the field, not necessarily from the foul line, from the field. We'll see. But the Longhorns, I think you should be dancing. Big win today.